A man accused of killing a 6-year-old goes to court. Why the suspect's lawyer says this isn't your typical murder case.
Excitement is growing over tonight's $500 million Powerball jackpot.
A U.S. attorney known for attacking public corruption in New York State comes to Kentucky with some advice for lawmakers here.
This is WKYT News at 5.
With extra security precautions in place and the victim's family watching, a man accused of killing a 6-year-old returned to court this morning.
Ronald Exantis is charged with capital murder, burglary, and assault in the death of Logan Tipton. Police say Exantis broke into Tipton's home in Woodford County last month and stabbed the little boy. WKYT's Hillary Thornton is tracking the case in our top story at 5.
The attorney for Ronald Exantis says this is not a typical murder case, and she says it is much different from the 8 other capital cases she's worked on.
This is not a dope deal gone bad, as so many of these murders are. This is not an episode of a thug coming in from out of town, going into someone's house to rob it. My client is a professional, upper middle class, African-American man. He's a nurse. He's been gainfully employed all his life.
The circuit court arraignment for Exantis held in the district court building, a decision made by officials after some safety concerns.
You know, there has been threats made. There's been remarks and stuff. So our concern is both the family and his family and him.
The attorney for Exantis did enter a not guilty plea on his behalf. She also asked for copies of any evidence the Commonwealth has to be handed over as soon as possible. Meanwhile, the family of 6-year-old Logan Tipton filled the first 2 rows, their first time seeing their son's accused killer in court.
Just wanted to thank the whole community and everyone that's behind us for your support and your prayers, and please continue to keep us in your prayers, especially my kids.
Now, as for the mental state of Exantis, his attorney says she cannot comment on what, if any, treatment or evaluations he has been through. She did, however, say that he was, quote, actively psychotic when booked into the jail, and she says she does not believe he has been himself since she met him that day. In Woodford County, Hillary Thornton, WKYT.
The next court date for Exantis is March 2nd.
Someone could wake up millions and millions of dollars richer tomorrow. Tonight's Powerball drawing is up to $500 million. This massive prize has more people than usual, of course, paying for a chance to win it all. WKYT's Monique Blair is live in Lexington with more on the massive jackpot. Monique?
Well, Sam, I'm at the Shell station in Hamburg, and I can tell you in just about the 2 hours we've been here, it has been an absolute revolving door of people coming in and out here trying to buy their Powerball tickets. Now, right now, a single Powerball ticket that matches all the numbers is worth $500 million. That's $500 million. With that is a cash buyout of $306 million before taxes. Now, tonight's drawing is the 4th largest in the game's history. The odds of winning tonight's Powerball are 1 in 292 million, but that isn't stopping the excitement many people are feeling over the possibility of becoming a multi-million-dollar winner.
I could definitely live off of that, kind of disappear for the rest of my life. Nobody would probably ever see me again, but you know, it's something fun to do, kind of changes things up a little bit, gives you something to look forward to.
Now, there have been a total of 18 Powerball winners here in Kentucky. You have until 10 o'clock tonight to buy your ticket before the drawing that takes place at 10:59 p.m. Reporting live in Lexington, Monique Blair, WKYT.
Monique, thank you. And tonight's jackpot is the largest one since last February when it reached $564.1 million.
North Korea rattled nations around the world with an unannounced test of a powerful bomb. The communist nation claims it has reached new levels of nuclear sophistication, but as Kenneth Craig shows us, it could be weeks until that's confirmed.
North Korea claims it successfully tested a miniaturized hydrogen bomb, but the Obama administration is not so sure.
The initial analysis that's been conducted of the events that were reported overnight is not consistent with North Korean claims of a successful hydrogen bomb test.
The blast registered as a magnitude 5.1 quake. It happened near Punggye-ri, where previous nuclear tests were carried out. But U.S. intelligence believes a full-size hydrogen bomb would have been more powerful. South Korea and Japan condemned the test, and so did China, one of North Korea's few allies.
Diplomats here at the United Nations quickly scheduled an emergency closed-door meeting to discuss the developments.
The members of the Security Council strongly condemned this test, which is a clear violation of Security Council resolutions.
Japan mobilized reconnaissance planes to collect air samples to test for radiation. Analysts say if North Korea's claims are true, it could be a game changer in the arms race.
If they're on the verge of miniaturization, that means that they're very close to being able to put that on a warhead and potentially to deploy it well beyond the Korean Peninsula.
This is North Korea's fourth claim of a nuclear test. Kenneth Craig, CBS News, the United Nations.
UN Security Council members plan to draft a new resolution dealing with North Korea, but have not said if it will contain any sanctions.
An ambulance turned over during a crash this afternoon. Our county-by-county coverage begins in Wayne County. It happened at the intersection of State Road 90 and 3284. Witnesses say the ambulance had its siren on when it collided with another car. A patient was not in the ambulance at the time of the crash.
We do know that the ambulance was responding to an emergency call coming west on 90 entered the intersection. We had the other unit that was coming off of Whiteway Inn Road, entered the intersection, and they hit right up here in this lane, flipping the ambulance over, and the ambulance came to a rest right here. The car comes to a rest pretty much right at the impact.
One EMS worker and the driver of the car were taken to the Wayne County Hospital with injuries. They are both expected to be okay. Police arrested an Anderson County father after finding his 13-year-old drunk. Jared Topper is charged with disorderly conduct and endangering the welfare of a child. Police tell the Anderson News they found the girl too drunk to stand or talk at an apartment on Highland Drive on New Year's Eve. Police say Topper was also very drunk and uncooperative. He has since bonded out of jail.
It has been a mostly mild winter so far, but that is about to change. We're keeping an eye on some Arctic air lurking in the forecast. WKYT Chief Meteorologist Chris Bailey's here now with the details. Lurking is a good word.
It really is. Kind of just around the corner, coming in later this weekend and early next week especially. Boy, going to get very, very cold across most of the country. And some of the changes to set that Arctic air free and into the state starting to take place and show up already across the Bluegrass State. A couple of storm systems are going to come our way over the next 3 or 4 days, and then we start to get in on that very winter-like pattern, the harsh winter pattern in some cases. Look at the clouds that are out there now. Those are ice crystal clouds that are showing up in the sun. To the west of us, even that little sundog that was showing up with the ice crystals kind of reflecting the sun back at us. 42 Lexington, humidity is dry at 35%, so no threat of precipitation with the clouds that are working into the area as of right now. It's going to be mainly on the dry side through tomorrow, but the moisture is back into the Mississippi Valley, and what you see with those scattered raindrops into parts of the Ozarks, down the Mississippi River toward parts of Texas as well that stuff's going to be in here as we go through the next couple of days. Here's what we are looking at as we focus on the headlines. Showers set to move in, then it's a weekend storm system that may bring rain and snow to much of the region. Behind that comes the Arctic cold. We will time it all in with the hour-by-hour forecast in a matter of minutes.
He put dozens of state lawmakers in prison because of public corruption. Today, the high-profile U.S. attorney from New York had a message for Kentucky lawmakers.
Preet Bharara spoke to lawmakers in Frankfort about avoiding trouble just to grab some extra cash. WKYT's Phil Pendleton has more on what the prosecutor had to say.
The last time there was widespread public corruption here in Frankfort was likely the 1990s with the Bobtrot scandal, where lawmakers were convicted of accepting bribes. Yet Preet Bharara, the attorney for the Southern District of New York State, says that kind of thing happens all the time in his district.
These are awful and sad stories.
Preet Bharara has quite a track record of convicting lawmakers in New York who accepted bribes for handing out favors.
But they threw it all away. They threw their liberty away, although sentencing still is pending, by forgetting that their jobs were not meant to be vehicles for massive personal profit, by forgetting that their oaths were not meant to be empty promises of honest service.
The U.S. Attorney's presence at the state capitol is part of Kentucky lawmakers' required ethics training, hoping to avoid the embarrassment the Bluegrass State experienced 2 decades ago. Embarrassment that Beharra says he sees every day in the Empire State.
Where it continues to seem that the best way to find Albany on a map is at the intersection of greed and ambition.
Beharra says he has a very good track record. He says the motto is, if you're going to do these kinds of things, likely you're going to get caught. He says that in 12 different cases, he was able to get 11 convictions, and the one that got away was caught by someone else. In Frankfort, Phil Pendleton, WKYT.
And the U.S. Attorney told lawmakers that Kentucky has had a good track record of policing itself to avoid problems seen in the 1990s.